Yay.
There we go. 1338. No, it's actually 1338 is the name of the game. 1337 is the series. It's yeah. Okay. We all have different tactics at the beginning here. You have these Vespene geysers, and you can build refineries on them. These refineries later on in the game pay off because for each one you build, you gain a percentage increase in income. You get a slow income trickle, if you can see at the top right of the screen. However, also building these refineries stops your income for a certain amount of time. It works out to 25 seconds the first one, 50 seconds the second one, and 75 the third one. So it gets more expensive the more things of these you build. Um, so both me and Sea Watcher, Dean, go for two of these things, while Isaac, he plays the early game and decides to take control from the very start with mass zerglings. They're actually very effective at this stage, especially when you give them some support. And he gets probably like a veteran guys at some point later on, but mostly he just relies on the base income, which is still quite a lot and enough to get by. It's a planetary fortress, basically, but on drugs. Oh dear, they've gone banelings. That's a very strong counter to the mass zerglings, as many as you should know. I just probably gonna have to switch to tech from the start. Normally we don't get many counters to mass zerglings, or even though there are so many of them, just because people never kind of change their tactic based on what other people do. Unfortunately, this guy seems to be going mass banelings from the start. So Isaac will seems to be retaliating in kind.
How embarrassing will it be if we lose this?
We can just try it again.
Yep. The best counter for banelings is banelings.
There we go. Now, Dean's got some units out now. He's gone for the Sentry Zealots. Sentries are very nice because you can upgrade them with the hallucination ability, and that just spawns loads of random things like Colossi and Vikings and all Protoss units, not Terran units. These just kind of act as a kind of a buffer. They don't deal any damage, but just kind of get in the way and generally use up the damage of your guys. And oh dear, that's well, got the middle. You see the large line. 12%. 12% income. More things, basically. Uh-oh. These people now have more units out than Dean, so unfortunately his forces are going to be beaten back, which is not the best thing, but then again, he's getting his third refinery, so hopefully later game he should be much better. Unfortunately, these guys have zealots, which rather like to absorb banelings. Unfortunately, Isaac's now about to hit the... Yep, there they are.
How depressing.
Lots of banelings indeed. Very depressing, especially when they're about to just... Oh no, no, he hasn't... There's a special trick. There's a special button you got to press on the banelings, otherwise they won't attack the enemy's buildings. They'll just keep on rolling forwards. It's got to, I don't know why. They'll probably update that in a later patch. But at the moment, you've got to do it manually. But you know, banelings work very well against the defensive cannon just because large splash damage against buildings, basically. Excellent. I have enough money out. I think I'll be going battle cruisers then. Its damage is actually less than that of the photon cannon from in-game, though. It does 17 damage for some reason. I don't know why. They probably thought it was a bit overpowered if it did 20. But it has a very fast weapon attack speed as, 0.15. We would have Dark Templars. The enemy is annoying invisible units. I'm glad that I'm using battle cruisers because they would just kill my Thors until I got out some anti-invisible units. Isaac manages to absorb the banelings there with his roaches, luckily. So we still get the middle at least there for the extra time. Unfortunately, they're not going to last long against the defensive cannon. There goes my one battle cruiser. Unfortunately, my tactic is definitely the later game tactic. One battle cruiser on its own pretty much gets owned by most ground forces that can attack it. For instance, these large amount of marines, they're just going to tear through it. But by the time I have about 3, they'll be able to kill these marines rather easily, actually. I don't know quite how that works, but it does. Oh, 2 observers? Why have you got 2 observers, dude? They're invisible! Look, see? This is not going the best of games we've ever had. Again, me and Isaac have managed to somehow get back from better than this, from worse than this. I don't quite know how we do it, but sometimes just late game we just somehow it just turns in our favor and we win. I've never quite understood it, but it seems
We're magic.
basically, yeah. I'm gonna go with that. However, I invest in late game kind of high tech units, while Dean still goes for the mass kind of normal units. But no way. I think you shouldn't bother with those zealots and stuff, Dean. I think you should just go straight for the archons if that's what you're massing. Because against guys like these, the archons would be really good. Because the archons would one-shot the banelings that are coming towards you. They would be coming towards you really quickly. See, I mean, what use is that single zealot? What use is that single void ray when you could just get rid of them all for another archon? Unfortunately, yes, there's no selling in this game. Whenever you buy anything, unfortunately, it's yours. You actually do only have a limited amount of space. I know Isaac's manages to fill us up very often, but at a certain point of the game, I'm not quite sure, a certain time point in the game, the rocks in the middle break and you have twice the space to play with. However, even that can sometimes get... even that can- Yeah, unfortunately, those later ones, I don't think I've ever seen anyone get them because the later ones are 100, 125, and 150 seconds of no income. And by that stage in the game, it really is important to have your income. Oh, yeah, it's the Marines now probably going to rip through my battle cruisers, unfortunately. They still can. Later, when I get some armor upgrades, the battle cruisers will definitely be a lot better because the battle cruisers actually have quite a nice innate armor anyway. And when you upgrade that, they can pretty much cancel out the damage of things like Marines. One actually managed to survive with the help of Dean's units. Unfortunately, his Archon got killed there. God, Ben. The hallucination should really hopefully things like the hallucination, basically they'll just do things like absorb banelings. Ages ago, unfortunately. When you destroy the enemies of defensive cannon, you actually get a boost of 200 minerals. It's not a massive amount, but it's very nice. It kind of allows you to keep the advantage for that bit longer. But don't get lazy. I'm up to 4 battle cruisers now. I normally start upgrading when I get my 5th one. The Yamato cannon is very good in this game because when enemies get the large units out, it just, well, instantly kills them, such as, it'll one-shot Immortals, Archons, and it'll almost kill things like Carriers and other enemy battle cruisers and Thors. We're fighting our way back, but unfortunately they do have control of the middle line still, which unfortunately gives them the bonus income, which, well, hopefully makes them keep their lead. Oh, excellent. Isaac's managed to build up enough units to absorb that Baneling force. There you go. I now have my 5 battle cruisers, so I'm gonna start upgrading them with the Yamato cannon and hoping that they survive long enough to actually do something with it. The upgrades are pretty cheap in this game as opposed to some other games. Normally, an upgrade is about expensive as a unit, so it's not too bad at all. Obviously, they get more expensive as they go up there and stuff. I don't know why my battle cruisers are automatically Yamatoing the High Templars. It's not like they really have that much health. They're probably just seen as a threat. They do have a very annoying mana burn, which, well, does what it says.
My poor infestor.
Oh god, these, I see the enemies decided to go for more banelings. And trying to counter everything, really. That's really what I suppose that's really what you want to do in this game, is counter everything. And so often very hard, though, but you do have the 3 people to do it with. Normally you find in this game you'll win when your forces start stacking up on one of another. If you take long enough in a battle or something, your allies' forces can always come and help you. And things like my battle cruisers often can survive long enough for reinforcements, and then they can then help for the next wave, etc. Unfortunately, all units do have a timer. Otherwise, they could just live forever. What's the timer? The timer is 120 seconds, which is the exact same as that before your next wave will spawn. With 3 players. No, with less players, your waves will spawn more often. Oh, there's me one-shotting an immortal. Oh god. The enemies have decided to go Corruptors. Corruptors obviously counter battle cruisers because of their increased damage versus massive units, but luckily my Yamato cannons decide to just one-shot them. They can't get motherships. I'm fine. Unfortunately, they may be getting wise and starting to get out units that can see them, but they don't appear to have any invisible seers yet.
So many banelings.
Oh, your infestors are good against the banelings. Fungal growth stops banelings in their place, deals damage over time. You can probably just make the banelings blow up where they stand. Each rose is probably best in this game because once again you do run into space issues if you're using a mass unit tactic. Like Isaac, I can see Isaac's already used up over half his space there, and things like that will allow you to fit in more. All units in this game are exactly the same as that you encounter in the campaign or the normal online play. I don't make any changes to this because they're already pretty balanced, and so there's no reason to, and it works quite well. Oh dear! Apart from the enemy have perhaps one too many void rays for my liking. Oh god, damn Hydralisk and void rays! Why are they always together? I don't get that. You choose a singular race at the beginning of this game, and you can't make any units outside of that race, and so it does limit you with the kind of the. Otherwise, if you had access to all 3 races, you could make some very nice support kind of combinations. But they obviously want you to do that with your allies rather than with yourself. You can see Dean's Dark Templar is doing very